Okay, this is going to be a quick overview and demonstration of my SUPERHOT VR Universal Auto Splitter. To quickly summarize what this is that the old auto splitter for SUPERHOT VR speedrunning was only PC, and it broke with an update a bit ago. And so with so many people playing on Quest and PS4 and whatever, I thought that making one that wasn't specific to PC would be a good idea, so I went ahead and made this. So you can go to it for my GitHub and just go into the releases. Right now, I'm labeling this alpha version because I have barely tested this, and I want to get feedback from other people who actually try it in real scenarios. But you can go here and download whatever the most recent version is, and it should just be a zip. You unzip it like normal, nothing complicated. You should have a folder that looks like this, with imagerec autosplit.exe in it. And that's the program, and it should just be ready to go. You should just be able to double click it, and it should run. So from there, usage wise, what it's going to do is it's going to actually look at your screen, like the gameplay footage that's live from your VR device, and use the images there to split accordingly. So you might have it like on the Oculus Cast. It might just be via your OBS. It might be the game itself. However it is, just as long as it's on your screen, which you're gonna need for a recording anyways, you just use that. So what you do is with this window selected, I'm using just a video by Dark Tanka as a like template video. His game footage is here, right? He has other things, but his game footage is here. So with this selected, I'm going to follow the instructions and press enter in the top left portion. You can see it's doing some stuff. And then I'm going to press enter in the top right portion, bottom right portion, like it says. So now it's ready to go. And with all this set up, I also make sure that I have my split key, which I can choose pretty much any key that is possible on a computer. Maybe there's some that aren't covered, but pretty much all of them. And I have my live split open, and I'm making sure that that's the same. So tilde and tilde, there we go. Because this is going to actually physically press the key that you want to use as your split key. So right now it hasn't started, it hasn't detected start. But the way it's going to detect start is by seeing the red guy. So this red guy at the beginning, we go ahead and have him active as there. See, now it's waiting for murder. So now it's going to wait for the guy to go away, and then once it's pretty sure that the guy has gone away, then it's going to go ahead and start the first split. You can see, based on this, that it's basically looking for red pixels, and once there aren't any red pixels, that's when it's going to start to figure it out. So he goes away, no more red guy, and pretty soon you should go ahead and start the run. So it's obviously not going to time it exactly perfectly, but in general, this is just to get senses of how well runs are doing. It's not going to be exact science by any means. But yeah, so now it's going to indicate what section you're on. There are 6 sections because, as we're going to demonstrate here in just a second, the sections are, the way that it tells is actually those in-between sections, where you're like in the room with the computers. So each one of those makes up a section split, basically. And those are the different sections that are the different splits. So it's no longer by individual level because there's no good way to tell that. But it does do a pretty good job, and they're small enough chunks. Like there's 6 of them throughout this vaguely short run that they should still be good for comparing stuff. So now we're in the dark room, and now you're going to start to see this consecutive off frames ticking up. So for a little insight into how it works, which might be obvious from the debug log, it's just looking for white pixels, because when you're in the normal game, you have white pixels, and when you're in this section, you don't have white pixels. So now that we're back to white, it's going to know, hey, we're back in the section, and we're going to split, and that's marking the transitionary points. So yeah, it's pretty much going to do that for every single time. The only slightly, like there was the beginning that was special that we already went over, and then there's going to be the end that's a little special, but it's not that special. That's pretty much it. Now, this is definitely just a heuristic being used that's kind of general and kind of vague. So again, alpha, not expecting this to work perfectly. Every once in a while, you'll see an off frame, and because it'll just happen to be that the view is a bit darker than average, and And that shouldn't generally be an issue because it needs many off frames in a row. See this, look at there, it had an off frame. But it needs many in a row in order to actually consider it a split. So in general, it shouldn't pick it up. The only slight caveat is that actually after this level on Helipad, there's a very short in-between section. So I couldn't make the amount of time spent in darkness too high because of this very short section. But as we'll see, I'll go ahead and do the next section. After this section, since I've explained pretty much the basics, I'll go ahead and start speeding through the video. But here we see there's some consecutive off frames, but he's pretty quickly going to be back into the normal game, and so it has to be a pretty low level. But there we go, get another split. We're on to section 3. This is gonna make it not very reminiscent of the actual splits for the run, but I'm gonna go ahead and start. Make sure I'm selected into it. I'm gonna go ahead and start fast forwarding a bit. The next one is gonna be at Corpo Office End, where we fall on down. Should be good right here. And that'll split us off. Then you get all the way through Redacted and onto the next and all that part without there being another dark section. A little bit of a thing there, but you see those consecutive frames popping up. I'll speed forward a bit because again, it's past the threshold, I know. So then it splits, you know, we're out of there. It would have been on the actual transition of the time, but I'm just kind of speeding through the video. We go through here, boot to boot. Let's see. I think the next section is here after Airplane. Yeah, you can actually tell because the splits have insert disc. So, now we're in a dark section. I hopefully didn't skip too far for the threshold to be mixed up, but it should just go ahead. Yeah, I think it's already good to go. I actually do the transition point this time, unlike the last section. But it's pretty basic. I mean, the idea is that you're supposed to be able to run this in the background. And I'll have to demonstrate how resetting works. But it should be pretty simple. You shockingly use the reset button that is found in the window. Spoilers. So there we go. Split on to section 5. We're going to go through until we're done with restaurant. There's restaurant. Oh. Yeah, so I was skipping a little too much there, and I kind of messed it up. I'm actually just going to skip past, like, everything. So, we'll pretend that didn't happen. Again, this is slightly sensitive, and there's going to be some minor issues here or there. That genuinely was just because I was skipping around too much, I'm pretty sure. But the restaurant transition would have been the same as every other transition, and then you would be just on the last level pyramid. Now, here what it's going to do is it's actually just going to look for black, because there's no transition back to white. So you're going to destroy the pyramid, and then it's going to turn into blackness, and it'll do its final split. And obviously this time is not reminiscent because we skipped all the way through, and we kind of fucked up some things, so that's how it goes. But there, then it finishes. And then it completely resets for you, so if you want to hop into another run, you do it the same way. You go find a red guy. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. Let's say, okay, that was a run, whatever, we're done. Let's go back to the beginning, go through the menus and whatnot, go over here. And we're going to start another run. So again, you start the run by having the red guy go. Wait for murder. It's probably, when you're actually doing this like in a VR headset, all you would do is just stare at the red guy for a bit. And then you'd be pretty sure, because you can stare at him for as long as you want. As long as you stare at him for the minimum amount of time, you're fine. Then you're fine, so we'll do that. We'll go through. Needed to make sure to reset this. There we go. Did it in time. And then do your run. Now let's say you get a ways through. You know, maybe even you get through airport and you have your first split happen. Yeah, let's speed this up. Have your first split happen. You're going. Ah, crap. I died somehow right here in Chinatown. It'd be really bad of you. But now I want to reset. So the way you reset is, I mean, it should be fairly obvious, but all you do is you click the little reset button. It's back to setting up, so it's waiting for those red frames. You have to reset your timer manually and decide not to link them up, just because, in case, you know, weird reset, like ordering goes wrong, I wanted to make it manual, because you're going to have to manually click stuff anyways. But yeah, now it's just waiting for the red guy. So then you would restart your game, boot it all up, and do the same process of looking at the red guy. Cool. Barely enough red. I kind of didn't get the looking at him frame, but you can see it doesn't need to be like ridiculously like you're inside of him or anything. So there we go, and then you'll be able to start it up again. I think I reset everything correctly, so should start soon. There we go. Beautiful. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, again, part of the idea is that it goes pretty naturally. So yeah. And with that, thanks for watching. I hope this is useful. I hope that some of you try it out. Leave some feedback, maybe in the comments, maybe in the Discord. You know, really. I'll be looking at both of those, so that'll work fine. I'll be very interested to see how well it works, because this is very much the alpha version, and I'd like to polish it up a bit more. I mean, just this. And apparently there's enough red pixels to make this mad. Just this could be updated to like be nicer looks wise and whatnot, so definitely some stuff I want to do, but I wanted to get it out because I've been working on it for a while but kind of pushing off releasing it in any form, and I figured it would be useful. So anyways, talk to you guys later.